Hey YouTube, it is Trinity Productions, Trinity Pro Sound, coming at you again with another video. This time we are really excited to bring you a brand new product from DB Technologies. We've got the new K5 line array that is the replacement for the DBA T4, and the T4 is end of life. They have sold tens of thousands of units of the T4, and now the K5 is going to take its place. It is like a T4 on steroids, not quite a T8, but we are going to get into this unique speaker that is the replacement for the T4. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. We heard a demo of it by DB Technologies. In fact, Marco from Italy came out and we listened to this thing. It is absolutely, as we say in a lot of our videos, amazing. The specs on this box, let's get in here, and it is a three-way box, just like it was with the T4. And we'll get the iPad Pro up here and we can read the specs. Frequency response 70 to 19,000. Max SPL out of one box is 129 dB, so it is pretty stinking powerful. I think the T4 was 128. High frequency compression drivers, there's two 1-inch. With 1.25 inch voice coils on them. The mid frequency is a 6.5 inch neodyme. It is the same mid frequency that was and is in the T8 and the T12 with a 2-inch voice coil. And then it's got the 8-inch neodyme low frequency driver with a 2.5 inch voice coil. Crossover points on this thing. The low to the mids is 340, and then the high frequency from the mids up to the high frequency drivers is at 1800. There are FIR filters on it, so that's how they can end up getting this thing so precise and tuned in as far as the equalization, time alignment, and everything on this box. Coverage is 100 degrees in the horizontal, 15 degrees in the vertical, just like the T4 was. This is now touting a new DigiPro G3 series amplifier, Class D, 500 watts of RMS power, split up between all of the drivers. The DSP on this thing is 28 and 56 bit, 48 kilohertz. There are peak and thermal limiters on it as well, and then it's got some rotary encoders we'll show you on the back of the box for setup and also for contouring some of the high frequency compensations. Has PowerCon in and through, XLR in and through, and then there's a USB connection on the back of it for servicing and updating the firmware on this speaker. Weight-wise, this comes in a little bit heavier than the T4 was, coming in at 31 pounds. So with that said, we'll get this back out of the way again. As you'll notice here, they did change the grill configuration so there'd be no confusion with the T4 and the new K5. With the way that they have set these up, even though the mechanics on them for flying are the same, it is a totally different box sonically, so you're really not going to want to mix T4s and K5s together, plus you're not going to have the same look as you will here with the K5 and the K5 grill. So that's kind of why they've done that, to differentiate the two, so that there is no confusion between a K5 box and a T4 box or a T8 box. The K5 system is by itself not adaptable to running with the T8s or the T12s just because of the way the box is set up and the frequency response. It is a dedicated rig just for doing the K5s all together in a line array configuration or ground stacked. The DBA T8s and T12s are the boxes that you will use for doing a large line array or with front fills or with some down fills on a bigger system. But the K5, again, you can end up hanging, I think, 16 boxes off the fly frame, which is a huge line and lots of power out of this box. One of the things that they have done with the K5 is they've gone in with the new DigiPro Series 3 amplifier, is they've gone in and addressed some of the earlier issues as far as the noise that was in the amplifier, that was in the T4 amplifier, and also the muting issues that on really low levels they muted out the T4 amplifier, and you would notice if you're playing background music sometimes it would come in and go out. But with that said, that's all been cleaned up. This box is absolutely amazing as far as the sonic quality is concerned, even though it is still the injection molded type box with the same characteristics as the T4, T8, and T12. They have done a lot to stiffen this thing up, and we'll get into the mechanics of it and get this thing opened up. But we're very happy to be able to do this video. This is kind of the first one. They've got us with the K5 system now that they are available in the US in distribution. We are very happy to have been kind of the first to hear this thing and take it apart and do a video on it. So without further ado, what we're going to do is get this thing spun around, take a look at the back of it and side of it and the mechanics. But if you are familiar with a T4 system or a T8, you've got the same thing on it. One of the things though that they have done is on the mechanics, we've got some additional fly point pin points on it. Mechanics up here to fly off the top, those are all still the same. One of the things as we rotate around the back that you're going to see is different is they all now have this built-in rain cover shield so that you can take them outdoors, hook up your cables, and have somewhat of a shielding from the elements. Over on this side we've got the PowerCon in and outs. Over on this side we've got the XLR in and outs, and then we've got the tunings that can be rotary set here, and then the USB jack. As you see with this big heat sink on the back of it of this new DigiPro Series 3 amplifier, but everything else is pretty much the same on the box. They do not incorporate RDNet like the T12 and the T8s do, just to keep the price point where it is. But this is basically a takeover for the T4 that'll still be offered at that same wonderful price point and features and functionality as the T4 was now with the new K5 system. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing opened up and take a look at the inside. As we've shown you before in some of the other videos, the drivers are going to be similar, but I want to get into the construction and look at the amplifier on this new DB Technologies K5 line array. So we've gone ahead, pulled the grill off, and good solid, construction on the grill. Doesn't need to be too beefy because it's not very big, but it's got the standard foam behind it so you don't see the speakers, and gives it a little bit of weather protection as far as rain getting into it or liquids or anything, and as well as dust. So nice grill for the K5. Now once we get into it, you're going to be seeing that we've got a design similar to what the other speakers have looked like with the T8 and the T4. We've got the mid-range over here, the high frequencies down the center, we've got the low frequency driver over here, and then we've got the port for the box over on this side. And then there's a series of screws in the front that pull this whole front assembly off. And that's one of the things that I had commented in some of our earlier videos on the T4s and the T8s, that the construction of this, the seam line is just so hard to see up here. That you would just kind of think that this is just all one piece injection molded plastic, but it's not. So this whole front assembly comes off with the drivers and everything on it to be able to pull that off. So again, standard mechanics, same as the T4, T8 on the box. Very robust and very well built. They have worked on tightening up the mechanics of the box, so that there's not any rattle or anything from them, so you can feel that as you raise and lower the arms on the back of it that have all of the different degrees of adjustment for flying the speakers and joining them together. Standard pins that they have been using, a little bit better securing of the pins on the box itself, so that the little safety cables for them so you don't lose the pins and everything falls out. So with that, we're going to go ahead, get the front pulled off, and take a look at the inside of the new DB Technologies K5 line array. Okay, so we've got it opened up, and now we'll get down in here and look at it. This is where the front assembly came out, and we'll show you that in a second. but I just wanted to show you some of the things that they've done inside this box that the T4 did not have. We've got additional aluminum stiffening on both sides. We've got the dampening material here in the back, and then these leads go through and hook up to the drivers and right into the amplifier in the back. But the weight of this box with the amplifier on the back now is, I'm guessing, about 7 or 8 pounds. Once the amplifier gets pulled out of it, it's going to be even lighter because of the injection mold. But one of the things that I really want to stress on this is, after we pulled all the mechanics on it, which was the fly hardware on both ends and then the screws around the perimeter face of the box, with the stiffening in it, it is really nice and solid, like the T4 was not. So that's a big plus for this box, which helps reduce resonance and also helps provide some additional low frequency extension on it for the 8-inch driver as well. So we did pull the drivers out. This is the 6.5-inch mid-range driver. It is just a small little stamp frame basket. It is a DB Technologies driver for this, and it is labeled as such from AEB, DB Technologies. So that's that driver, and then we're going to go ahead and pull up the front assembly now and let you take a peek there at the face of it, where the drivers are, the 8-inch driver. Again, this is a DB Technologies. This driver, let's get it down here in the front. You can see this driver is, the 8-inch driver is a cast frame driver. Again, AEB DB Technologies. And then the high frequency drivers, again, here in the center for it. Again, AEB DB Technologies drivers on these as well. Everything fits nice and tight into it. The phase plugs on the mid-frequency driver here, everything goes up, and then there is this cap, because it is an enclosed mid-range driver. That cap goes on it and provides a nice tight seal on the interaction of the mid-frequency driver to the low-frequency drivers. So that's really about it. What we're going to do next is pull the amplifier out and take a look at what we can with the DigiPro G3 amp, and then once that's done, we're going to get it all back together and put it on Smart and see what, with these new FIR filters, of what this box really looks like, as far as putting some noise through it and seeing what the frequency response is going to be out of this new DB Technologies K5 line array. Okay, so we've got the DigiPro amp out. What I'm going to do is rotate this thing and show you the back of it here with the rain shield. Amplifier's out. It's just on a Molex multi-pin type connector going to the drivers. One of the nice things about this is that this rain cover is held on with a little frame and a series of screws. And if you're not into needing the outdoor protection cover and you want to get it out of the way, it can just be, the frame can be removed, the cover pulled off, the frame put back on, and you've got a box that doesn't have that if you don't want that covering your cables and in the way. So nice feature that it is removable. Weight of the box with the thing out, probably 5 or 6 pounds. I pulled the amplifier out and was quite amazed just how light the amplifier is in itself. So we're going to go ahead and put this aside. And hopefully it stand up right there. And we're going to grab the amplifier. So this is the new DigiPro G3 series. And there's not much we're going to be able to get into on it and see. We will try to get this here in front of the camera for you. But we've got power input, output, parallel section into the switch mode power supply. And in looking down through the center of this with all of the components and power supplies, everything underneath this protective assembly it is all like surface mount technology. So looking down through there, and then the power semiconductors are adhered to the heat sink here so that there's good heat dissipation. No fan in this box. So that is pretty stinking amazing that they don't need that to keep this thing cool, and they've got a really nice heat sink on it. As far as the features on this, you can see that we've got the XLRs here. We do have a preset DSP here, and then we also have high frequency compensation that can be set so that depending on what your tonality is that you want to hear and compensation for the high frequency, there's some additional adjustments for the two high frequency drivers that you can end up doing that will end up allowing you to add or subtract as far as high frequency signal. What we're going to do is we will adjust those and look at what they do on Smart, just to kind of give you an idea of what all of these DSP presets are doing on the box as well, and show you that. There is the service data port, and then also on here there is the input sensitivity. That is just a little tiny thumb pod on there. There is a limiter showing light showing limiter and signal, and also the mute protect when you turn it on, or it goes and has a problem and then it'll mute on its own and tell you you've got an issue. And then it's just got the power ready light on it. It does have a replaceable fuse over on this side here that can be pulled out. This is a universal mains power supply, so it'll run on all voltages worldwide, which is pretty much common with all the new switch mode power supplies that DB and some of the other manufacturers are now doing. So the weight of this amplifier is probably 3 to 4 pounds. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and get this box back together. We'll get it set up, get the reference microphone set up on it, and then we'll do some traces and see what some of these DSP settings look like in just the zero mode, just flat out of the box, and then we'll go through and make some adjustments on things and see what those DSP settings are really actually doing on the new DB Technologies K5 line array. One of the things I'd like to mention as we're putting this back together is that all of the hardware is just standard type Phillips bit. That if you ever need to get into it and take it apart, you can do that with all of the drivers other than the fly hardware that's on the side of it. That is Allen wrench type hardware, and is on there pretty tight with some Loctite. But if you ever need to get in to service it or take a driver out or inspect things inside the box, it's fairly easy to get apart, believe it or not. So as we're getting this back together, the components that if you decide to pick up a K5 system, all of the ground stacking and fly frames that are common to the T4, T8, T12 line will work with the K5. And then they've also come out with upgrades and replacements on the S10 and the S20 sub that they have come out now with the K10 and the K20. I did hear a pair of the K10s under 4 of the K5s, and I was pretty impressed. I think Marco said that they've got the driver that is in the, I think it's the 1518 box that is in that box. And so they've gone also to the DigiPro G3 series amplifier on the K10 and K20 subs as well. So everything's been upgraded across that line so that you've got a much more formidable line array and system to work with from some of the older components of the S10 and the S20 subs as well from DB Technologies. Also, if you have S30s, this box will play nice with the S30s with no problem. In a ground stack configuration, 4 of these guys aside is going to give some major SPL. As you'll find with any kind of line array or speaker assembly trying to cover a larger crowd, if you get it up in the air and over the top of everybody's heads, believe it or not, it comes to life and you think you've got brand new speakers. Ground stacking is good, but only up for certain applications. Once you get things in the air, it's a whole new ball game, and quite impressive on what the same rig ground stacked versus the same rig flown sounds like and the area that it can also cover. So something to keep in mind when you're purchasing a line array system. Ground stack is good, but flying and getting the things in the air, it'll just make you smile. So we've just about got this back together. I'm going to get the amp back in and then we'll do some traces on it and show you what this box looks like with the new Digipro G3 series amplifier. Okay, nice. I hate Windows. What we've done is we've gone ahead and set up smart, so we've got the reference microphone on the speaker. It's about 2 feet away, and we've done an initial capture. Try to get it here so you can see without too much reflection. We've done an initial capture on it and looking at the frequency response. That is with everything set at 00 for the DSP settings on the box itself. So we've got 1/24th scale referencing going on with a 2 averaging, so it slows it down a little bit. And what we're going to do is then go through and capture some additional traces with the different settings that are on the box itself and take a look at those. Okay, so we've gone and captured all of the presets on this, which is A through, I can't read, maybe H on this. And what we're going to do is just show you, this is the A setting on the screen now, and what we're going to do is just then go through and click on the differences between the A and the B settings so that you can kind of see what's going on here of how it's tapering things. Looks like they're in the next setting of B, it rolls off a little bit more of the low end, but the box is true to what it is saying as far as the frequency response down to about 70 hertz on it, that after that it starts falling off fairly rapidly as far as frequency response. Into the next preset, which is C, which is the red trace. It looks like it's starting to do some things to the mid frequencies in here, and also the low frequencies for box coupling. As we get into some of the higher ones, not a whole lot I can see has changed in there. A little bit of the low frequency end. The next one up starts tapering, looks like some of the high frequencies and mid frequencies. Next one up looks like it's playing with a little bit from about 250 up into about 800, and then some of the high frequency areas, but they're very subtle. This one ends up doing a little bit more, the last one pulling down some of the mid frequencies here in about the 200 all the way up almost to the crossover point of the high frequency drivers up here at 1.8. But in switching through all these, the settings have been very subtle. You can't really hear the tonality difference as you're going through and setting these things and clicking through it. So what we're going to do is go back to presetting preset A, which is the default preset for the box configuration, and then we're going to go in and play with the high frequency contour on the back of the box and see what those different settings do just based on the A setting itself. Okay, so now you can see we captured the setting on A and also on the number 1 setting for the high frequencies, and have captured that trace. And what we'll do is then go through and turn on and turn off the various settings on the trace all the way up from, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, looks like there's 7 different presets for the high frequency selection. So first one, compared to the original, a little bit of boost up in this area. These are more pronounced than the DSP settings for setting up the boxes as far as the coupling is concerned. So these have more presence as you go through the presets. You can hear the high frequency changes. The next up goes here. Little bit of change there. As we continue to go up, though, it starts getting more pronounced. And I think this last setting, you'll see, as you can see, almost to the last setting here, this is number 6. It really starts boosting some of the high frequency up above 10K. And then once we get to the last one, we've got some boosts that looks like it starts about 7K all the way up. Everything else seems to track fairly the same as far as up into the crossover point, but once you hit the crossover point, it really starts developing things up. Looks like in about the 5K up to the 20K range on those DSP settings. So that's what they kind of do, and it's one of those things where the number of boxes will depend on what setting it is on through A through G for the DSP settings, and then depending on how much high frequency content you need, if you're outdoors, if you're indoors, temperatures and things like that, you've got some additional high frequency compensations and boosts, it looks like, that you can work with on this that will allow you to tailor the system kind of to your liking, so to speak. So nice little adjustability factors on the boxes. So that's the overview of the DB Technologies K5. I would love to take and do an outdoor demo of this. We may end up doing that fairly soon with the 2 K10s and the 4 K5s that we have right now. But from what I've heard on this box at this point, the way that they've set it up and the FIR filtering on these and the drivers that they're using and the new G3 amplifier, this box just really sounds sweet. I wouldn't say that it's a T8, but damn, it's close. So they've done a really good job. Hats off to DB Technologies with this K5 line array. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of us on the website at www.trinityprosound.com, and you can send us an email that way. You can also contact us through comments here on YouTube, and we will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Again, we are dealers for DB Technology. We have been for years and have sold just a boatload of their product and have never had hardly any issues with it whatsoever. Very solid, very good company. They stand behind their equipment 100%. So with that said, if you have any Pro Sound needs outside of the DB Technologies line, give us a call. We are dealers for about 45 different Pro Audio lines, microphones, mixer boards, cabling, lighting, whatever it takes to do an event. We will not be undersold. So whether you need a new mixer, whether you need new lighting, whether you need cables or speakers, as with the DB Technologies K5, give us a call. Area code 209-832-8023, or look us up on the web, www.trinityprosound.com. Thanks for watching.